Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, despite reports of Nigeria's inflation rate slowing, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Consumers continue to face soaring prices for essentials like food, fuel, and transportation. This disconnect raises critical questions about whether the economic slowdown is meaningful for ordinary Nigerians or if structural issues from supply chain disruptions to currency devaluation are keeping costs high. As policymakers push for stability, businesses and households alike are left wondering, when will relief finally arrive? To speak to us on this, we are joined by Adeyemi Adenuga. He's an analyst, research and portfolio management, Zedcrest Group. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Adeyemi.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, is Nigeria's inflation slowdown translating to relief for consumers at all?
Okay, thank you for having me. So one thing to state is that inflation figures are lagging indicators. So what this means is that it means that it's an indication of previous performance. The slowdown that we saw in the headline inflation that came out yesterday, slowing to about 23.18%, is just a reduction in the pace at which inflation is growing. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the prices of commodities are beginning to decline. It just means that the rate at which those prices are rising is reducing, and that's what we saw. For food inflation also, we also saw it decline to about 23.51%. How about for core inflation? For core inflation, we saw it ticked up slightly by 49 basis points to 23.01%. So basically, it doesn't necessarily mean that the prices of commodities are declining or there is ease for individuals in the economy. It doesn't necessarily mean that the pace at which the prices are growing is reducing.
Okay, but how much of Nigeria's inflation is driven by global factors versus domestic policies?
Okay, so a significant part of Nigeria's price level is driven by the exchange rate, which also is impacted by global environments. So we've seen the way Nigeria's market has reacted all through 2024. We saw how the exchange rates exerted pressure on the inflation figures. And then we would say that a significant portion of price levels in Nigeria is likely driven by the global environment. For the domestic environment also, we have some major structural changes that impacted price levels in 2024. And then currently also, we look at the likes of the PMS price increase that happened in 2024, as well as some other activities that happened during the course of the year. So all this printed into inflation figures and price levels for those periods.
So can monetary policies alone fix Nigeria's inflation problem?
Definitely not. So economists would say that fiscal and monetary policy work hand in hand. So it's important that while the Monetary Policy Committee is trying to bring in, and they've hiked rates significantly in 2024. We've seen that they've used that band already. So what we should expect now is fiscal reliefs. So we expect that fiscal reliefs from the tax committee, we expect that to begin to print into the market, and then that should actually support consumer spending and help price levels.
All right, Adeyemi. So just before we let you go now, what sectors are hurting most from Nigeria's high inflation?
Okay, so as a result of the hike in inflation rates in 2024, we saw the MPC raise rates significantly. So the major sectors that are really impacted by this performance were sectors or companies that operate in the real sector. So talking of that, talking about the likes of the consumer goods businesses, we saw a lot of companies post losses as a result of their finance costs during the course of the year, last year. Also the industrial sector as well as the manufacturing sector. Those sectors are sectors that primarily been impacted by the high inflation, which led to like an hike in interest rates.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Adeyemi, for your time and for speaking to us on this.
Thank you for having me.